Hare Krishna. Mama Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we'll just continue the discussion on Prabhupada's purport. Hare Krishna. Sorry, some technical. So this is a very important topic. Uh, this this is this tells absorption how by bhakti that there are three levels. One level is we have to hear very attentively, and then we have the second level where where we start thinking about Krishna. This is the most important level. And then the third level is that absorption one develops in Krishna. So these are the three levels that are explained. And how Narada Muni achieved this. First we see that he heard. After hearing, then what happened is he is able to think, and now he is completely absorbed. When this absorption comes, it will help a person not to get distracted. Sati pratipannate yata syasas nishya samado achala buddhis. So uh, samado achala buddhi. So this is what happens. A person is completely fixed this consciousness on Krishna. So this is what this chapter is telling. This is a very important chapter. I'll just tell one story. This is a story from Puranas. So this story explains about one king. Two stories. Actually, we have to complete fast, but still, this is something. This will help us to understand how we should progress in our bhakti and means what are the obstacles, because this chapter basically is helping us to come out of this obstacle. So this is the reason I want to tell this story. So here there was a king who got some terrible disease, and so many doctors came. They tried to cure him in different ways. They were trying to cure him, but they said there is no hope. You cannot get cured, and that's all. This is end for you. So he felt very sad, and but then he was thinking, okay, now this is my last. I'm going to die. Then one sadhu comes to his kingdom, and then he says, okay, then he serves, because he's a king, nicely. He served him. The sadhu took care of him so nicely. And when sadhu was leaving, he asked the king, "You want anything?" Then the king said, "Actually, the truth is, I'm suffering with this terrible disease. I want to somehow cut out of it, but there is no hope. All the doctors gave up." And the sage said, "Okay, but I can take care. I can cure it. But I have some conditions." He said, "Yes, I will cure you, but the condition is you should not get any lusty thoughts. You should not think of any woman or anything, and all this treatment when I am doing for you." King said, "Yeah, I will do it. I'll take care. I'll try to be very strict." And then the sage went to the nearby forest, collected some herbs, made some medicine, and he made two glasses, one half, one full. And he himself used to take full glass, and he gave half glass to the king. And slowly, the king started feeling a difference. He was getting cured, and 3 weeks happened, and then the king became more healthy. Now problem is he started getting all these lusty desires, lusty thoughts, everything. Then after 4 weeks he goes to the sage and he confesses, "Actually, for 3 weeks I was very strict, but somehow as I was getting cured, my mind was getting such dirty thoughts. What should I do?" And then the sage said, "Oh, you did a very big mistake. Now the problem is you are going to die in 1 month. That's all. You have only 30 days to live. But what I can do now is I can help you get your make your death little smoother. So we'll continue taking the medicine so that you'll not feel the pain of death. Then the king was very mortified. He said, "Oh, what can I do now?" So as 1 month, so his appetite reduced. He was feeling a little sad, and for 1 month he was trying to meet some his loved ones, and he is trying to somehow console him. Okay, now, and 29 days happened, and then the sage comes and asks the king, "So how are you doing now? Or did you get any lusty desire thoughts now?" He said, "No, no thoughts, nothing. No way. I am just thinking of my death." Then the sage said, "Yes, that's what for me also. I never get such thoughts because I know I am going to die anytime. So I take every day very seriously. So for you also you didn't get because you know you are going to die." He said, "Rest of your life you live like this. You'll not get any bad thoughts. You will be completely focused. And not only that, you are going to live. So no problem for you. And you are cured of your disease also." Now, what is the point of the story is that absorption is the story. And how much a person is absorbed, is not getting affected. The main reason for our distraction, Krishna tells in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is Yamimam Pushpitam Vajam Pravanti Abhibhashita. Because you are hearing too much. Already so much contamination is there in our heart. So much, what do you call, all this, it is filled with fungus and all these things, like in some bathrooms and all, they don't clean, it gets accumulated. All this dirt, so our consciousness is accumulated like that. Now what is the solution? If we are hearing more nonsense, more materialistic things, it is going to increase only. It is going to increase all this garbage and all this fungus and all these whatever say, all these things are going to increase more and more. In drainage pipe this is full. Now, how to clean it? You put acid, it gets clean. So, the hearing of Krishna Katha is like acid, which is going to clean all our consciousness. That's why the process is starting with hearing. That's what. So, here we are seeing that Narada Muni, he heard from Bhaktivedantas with such rapt attention. Immediately, everything got cleared for him. Now, nothing is going to affect him so much. This is what happened to Narada Muni. And now we'll see how he says after my departure. So when his mother left him, so then how did he feel? He said, "I took it this as a special mercy of Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north." So Prabhupada writes, confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever. Very clear. And by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. They think to be materially successful, to gain something materially, is the purpose of life. But that is not actually true. We are only losing ourselves. We lose our soul by material because paritushyati shariram. So this is what is as Maharshi Narada Muni is asking. Are you completely satisfied identifying yourselves with uh, body and mind? So this is actually what is the condition people are identifying themselves with. But and they want that their mind should be their identity should be glorified. Especially they said, "Oh, you are such a nice person. You are so talented. You have this. You have that." So when this is glorified, people think, "Yes, I am this." And yesterday we were discussing the more important problem for a living entity is he thinks he is the doer. That is the main problem. Any appreciations, any glorifications, or any of the things that people achieve, they think, "Oh, this is me only." then that is the cause of greatest entanglement. If we stop identify I am the doer, anything we do will not have any problem only in this world. We are completely free. We can do anything whatever we want. But we should not identify I am the not the doer. But this is very difficult. And here we see Narada Muni, he could come out of that bodily conception of life. That is the greatest achievement. Immediately he heard all the all the dirt got cleared by this acid. So then he says, after my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farm, mines, agriculture lands, villages, flower gardens, nurseries, gardens, and natural forest. Purport. Now, this is what Narada Muni is going through, and he's not getting affected by it. Generally, when we are passing through when we go through some things, we get affected. Why people want to visit different places, Europe tour or America tour or Singapore, Malaysia? They want to get different experiences. And if you clearly observe, of all the experiences, what satisfaction of tongue. Jihvara lalasa iti utidhai. Shishnodar parayana Krishna naipai. So satisfying tongue, belly, and genital. That is what people go different places. That is what their enjoyment is. And this is, but when a saintly person is going through all these places, is not getting affected. You don't want to taste, okay, what is this special food here? Man's activity in agriculture, mining, farming, industries, gardening, etc., were all on the same scale as they are now. Even previous to the present creation, and the same activities will remain as they are. Even in the next creation, after many hundreds of millions of years, one creation is saturated by the law of nature, and the history of the universe repeats itself practically the same way. The mundane wranglers waste time with archaeological excavation without searching into the vital necessities of life. After getting an impetus in spiritual life, Sri Narada Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste time for a single moment with economic development, although he passed towns and villages, mines and industries. He constantly went on to progressive spiritual emancipation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the repetition of history which happened some hundreds of millions of years ago. As it was said herein before, only the most important factors of history are picked up to be recorded in this transcendental literature. 2 points here. First thing is, all this history is repeating again and again. If you dug deeper, you will get plastic from previous Kali Yuga also. Previous Kali Yuga also there was plastic, and people did the same thing which this Kali Yuga people are doing, because history repeats. But that is not very important. No need of doing excavations and finding, oh, which kings ruled in the previous Kali Yugas. Not this Kali Yuga. 500 years, 600 years we are searching. Just dug deeper, you will get last Kali Yuga remnants. We don't know which kings are doing. The point is, it's all waste of time. Why? There is so much propaganda. We were this country, our country is this, we are this, we are so big, you have these things. No, Indians, they never wrote their history. All our history is written by Britishers. Why Indians didn't write history? It's waste of time. You just need to know some important incidents of the history which will help us to progress in our spiritual life. That's all. And what is speciality of Srimad Bhagavatam is all these pastimes which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam are there in other Puranas also. Uttarasurya is there, Alimara story is there, and many of the stories are already there in other Puranas. But what is speciality with Bhagavatam? The way Bhagavatam explains, the way the Bhagavatam brings out the essential principles of that pastime. That is what is speciality of Srimad Bhagavatam. It brings out the most important understanding of that pastime. Uttarasura pastime is in all other Puranas, but in Mahabharata is also it is there. But what is speciality in Bhagavatam? It shows how Vritrasura is hero. In all other Puranas, Vritrasura is not hero. Bhagavatam, Vritrasura is hero. Why? Because it is showing what a devotional aspect. So, not that Vyasadeva did not write all this pastime. He wrote in Padma Puran, in Vishnu Puran, all the 10th canto pastimes, many of them pastimes are there. What is not there? The most important lesson, that Astraya, that Tattva is what is speciality of Srimad Bhagavatam. How we need to take shelter of Krishna, that is the only thing we have to do. That is what is very clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not there in any other Puranas. That is a speciality. So only the most important. And why Indians, they are not, that's why we don't see any other, no other history is maintained. Nobody writes any biographies in India. Only about Lord Chaitanya it is written when he was alive that time, because all of them understood that he is Supreme Lord. That's why 100 biographies are there on Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's not there in any other person like that in India, because they don't keep all these things. They know this is all waste of time. That is a point. Uh, and then he says, I pass through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, and copper, and through these tracts of land with reserves of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers, fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildering beasts and singing birds. So it's so attractive, but Narada did not get bewildered himself. He went through all these things unaffected. This is the most important thing. Why it is not affected? Because his all his vasanas, the material desires are evaporated by his quality of hearing. If our quality of hearing is good, all our material vasanas are evaporated, then you don't get affected by it. Otherwise, we see this world with the screen of our conditionings. Our conditionings, that's what we see this world. And then when I see a gulab jamun, I already have that vasana of experience of enjoying gulab jamun. When I see it again, immediately I get a desire to enjoy it, and I am caught up. Now, and some things we see, something we don't see also we get. Say in Hyderabad there is Gokul chaat, which is very famous. Say if I get a desire to eat now, I have to travel all the way 1.5 hours to that place, eat, spend my money, travel 1.5. So 3-4 hours wasted. This is a small desire. Say suddenly a person get a desire to make a big house. So next 20 years goes. You have to make a big house, purchase a land. Or 20 years is wasted just for the house. And sometimes people get so many such desires, and multiple desires parallelly are going on. Eating also, purchasing also, mobiles also, this also, that. So much vital energy is gone in just fulfilling that stupid desire, which anyway is not going to make completely a person happy, because it's just some. So this is what is happening. But if the vasanas are gone, if there are no, you don't get affected by these impressions. You will not get. Even you are seeing a big costly car or some nice mobile or some nice saris or some jewelry or whatever is there, then the desire is not there only. It's all evaporated. That's why we need to hear very attentively. So for Narada Muni, everything is happening. He did not get stuck up. Array, all children are playing here nicely. Let me also continue with them. Oh, nice food is there. Nice. Oh, nice, beautiful city is there. And nice amusement parks are there, or some entertainment clubs are there. He didn't get affected by all these things. That's what. So I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bamboo, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which are very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerous, fearful forests, which were the playards of snake, owls, and jackals. Now, this is another part of sanskara. Why there is fear? Because there is attachment. Attachment to what? Attachment to our pleasures, attachment to our body, attachment to our ideas. All this attachment causes fear. If there is no attachment, there is no fear. This is also part of sanskaras. When we hear nicely, we'll be free from all this attachment. And I am not free. I am just telling the principle that this is another area where we are get caught up. Why there is fear? No, sometimes, Arey beta, idhar mat jao, idhar mat jao, idhar mat jao. Why mothers always conscious? Because they feel, oh, nothing should happen. There is a fear because of attachment, and especially attachment to the body so much. Narada Muni, he already lost that attachment. He said, okay, I should completely depend on Supreme Lord. His Lord is as a Paramatma in everybody's heart. And whatever he decides, that only that living entity will attack me or do any harm to me. Otherwise, no living entity can do anything to me. He has that realization. So that sannyasi's first quality, he should be fearless. So this is what happened to Narada Muni. He's completely fearless. So this, whenever I read, I feel, my God, eh, is there any day when you get this realization and I can go to the forest and come? Not forest, within the city only. To go middle of the night will be a little dangerous. So it is more dangerous. Concrete jungles are there. So it is a duty of a mendicant, Parivrajakacharya, to experience all varieties of God's creation. The Prabhupada is telling. See, by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc. This is what Prabhupada could do. Prabhupada is so fearless. He went to America at that age, 70, with no money, no support, no facilities. This is a Parivrajakacharya. Prabhupada is completely fearless. It's not actually easy. Even if we are going to unknown place, we always having that insecurity. What will happen? Where will I stay? Who will come to receive me? And all these things. And that when you have to stay for a long time and you don't have money, can you imagine how to go to a new place, etc. So Prabhupada is telling to gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. So three reasons: to gain faith on Lord, to strengthen the mind, and to help others also. A sannyasi is duty bound to take all these risks without fear. And most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deers, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In this age of Kali, sannyasi is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the ordinary ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. This is very important. Change of dress is only. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of a sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasi should not change their former names following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajakacharyas like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole life and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. So this is the only thing we need to do. No need of making uh, so much uh, traveling in the forest. That was previous ages, because there was no means of traveling. They need to go through forest if they have to travel, but for us at this age, no need. So now, thus traveling, I felt little tired, both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took bath in a river, lake, and also drank water. By containing water, contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion. Purport. A traveling mendicant can meet the needs of body, namely thirst and hunger, by the gifts of nature without being a beggar at the doors of the householders. The mendicants therefore do not go to houses of householders to beg, but to enlighten him spiritually. So they are satisfied with whatever. They don't want to satisfy the tongue. Oh, I need nice sabji, chapati, rice every day. He don't need. He's satisfied with whatever. They take nicely food so that their body remains healthy, so that they can preach. So that is how they are. Of course, they can take prasadam, but it is not for satisfying the tongue. It is for giving strength to the body. And then he says, under the shadow of a banyan tree in an uninhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the super soul situated within, using my intelligence as I have learned from liberated souls. One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. This is very important. All this vipassana, yogas, this, that. Of course, vipassana is good only, but any other processes which people are practicing now, it's all waste of waste of time because it's not according to scriptures. Any other meditation, it looks a little sattvic at people at a metaphysical level. They experience some sort of peace, satisfaction, and some calmness. But it's all useless in one way because it's not making a person's heart change and elevate spiritually. So both are not happening only. You are getting some temporary sattvic happiness. Generally people are enjoying passionately, and when you do such meditation with, you go to some institutions and all these things, you may experience some sattvic happiness, which is not really the highest happiness anyway. It is not spiritual happiness. It is just, and people still find so much difficulty in their life. Even the sattvic people, they also have to go through all these difficulties because it is not transcendental either, and there is no change of heart also. That is the problem. Now this is we should not go for and there is a solution also. Means these meditations and all are a solutions for people who are in so much anxiety, stress. I am not denying that it is not working. It is working for them, and it is needed also for some people who are in so much anxiety and all. But we should also know that that is not the highest thing, and that is not the thing that is going to give a permanent solution for their problem. They may get temporary relief from their stressful life or anxieties or some relationship problems or health issues. All this can be cured because at a metaphysical level, they are connecting to some sattva, and it is going to help. Ultimately, they have to work on change of their heart, which will happen only when they are connecting to spiritual practices. That should be clear. Otherwise, we should not say negative about these things also. They say, this is bogus. No, no, not bogus. This is working also. Otherwise, why so many? Like here, one fellow got Padma Bhushan near Hyderabad. He has, I think, some 1,000 acre, I think more only, land, and so many hundreds and thousands of people go every day, do meditation there. If it is not working, why so many people will? It is working. It is working at a sattvic level, and people are also getting benefited. But it is not going to. What is the change of heart? Thoughts don't change. The thoughts, some extent they change, but the thoughts won't change in the sense means they remain for selfish thoughts only. It's not some spiritual thoughts. Second is the desire to enjoy continues. That is the point. Anyway, so then Prabhupada's rating, one should not meditate according to one's personal whims. I'm going a little fast because I want to cover 6th and 7th chapter before I go to Vrindavan. The first week of April, I am not there. So then we'll lag in our purports, and Prabhuji's purports, they are very short. So he will go very fast. We'll remain lacking. It's risky like that. Prabhupada purports are very long. I try to take some only. I'm not reading shlokas just to save time. Anyway, Prabhuji is reading shlokas, and you can nicely understand the shloka from there. I'm trying to take the main parts, Prabhupada purports, which are Prabhupada is making some very essential points which we don't want to miss also. Prabhupada, one should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Narada Ji contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightened rightly. Thus, he began to meditate. As soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down from my eyes, and without delay the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared at the lotus of my heart. Now we have to make our heart as lotus. Then Lord will appear. Now it is little not in that shape. It is different. We have to make it lotus. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll go a little elaborate. Yes, devotees are requesting that they want little elaborate explanation. I will try some points. They're very important. I'll elaborate very This point of meditation, tomorrow I will elaborate because we have only 15 minutes. I'll just take, because the point is of meditation only. From the beginning, this whole chapter is about meditation, meditation on the holy, meditation on the Supreme Lord, and how not to get distracted from meditation. So this is the most important point. So tomorrow I'll elaborate on this point of how to meditate and now not to get distracted. Theory only. I am also distracted many times, every day. But at least I will tell the principles which will be helpful. If we are practicing it, we'll be able to do that meditation, because ultimately Dheyam Sada, we have to ultimately meditate on Supreme Lord. Satyam Param Dhimahi. So here what Narada Muni is teaching to Vyasdev is, this is how I meditated. And next chapter, which is having the seed verses of Bhagavatam. We have the seed verses of Bhagavatam are in the second chapter, 7th chapter. There are 3 verses, and then the 9th chapter of 2nd canto, we have 4 verses, which are considered the seeds of Bhagavatam. So what Vyasdev he does is, he also meditates. Here Narada Muni is meditating, he is telling this is how I meditated. And then next chapter Narada Muni meditates, and through his meditation, whole Bhagavatam appears. Even though Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami in trance, in Samadhi. Generally, when we say Samadhi means, he says it is not anything proper sequence. He is in Samadhi. You don't expect anything from him. But even though Sukadeva Goswami is speaking Samadhi, he is giving a very, very logical sequence. This is how the Bhagavatam is progressing. It's not any random thing. Very, very systematic. Only some pastimes he has told up and down in 10th canto, and he was in ecstasy. But overall sequence and logic is very, very pakka in Srimad Bhagavatam. We will try to understand it. So here, Narada Muni is this point of meditation and how to progress. Ultimately, we have to come to a state of meditating only. Sthita Prajna. Our intelligence should be very, very fixed. It should not get distracted with all these things that are happening, our attachments, our affections, our inclinations, our tendencies, our all these fears and desires. So many things are there which are distracting us. How to overcome all this kachada? This is the point here. So here, what Narada Muni is telling, he did meditation according to the guidance of this Mahabhagavatas. And then he says, as soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down from my eyes, and without delay, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart. So immediately start expressing the symptoms of bhava. The word bhava is significant here. The bhava stage is attained after one has transcendental affection for the Lord. This is, so there are 3 stages in bhakti. One is practice stage, one is perfection stage. But bhava is in between. It is practice also, perfected also. The first initial stage is called Shraddha, or liking for the Supreme Lord. And in order to increase that liking, one has to associate with pure devotees of the Lord. The bhakti is a process to increase our appetite. Increase our appetite for the Lord. This is very important. Now, there is no appetite. We have to increase our appetite for the Lord. We are not so much eager for it. There are so many other requirements we have. But when we increase our appetite that, oh, I want Lord, then Lord will appear. Otherwise, Lord will say, he is not interested. That's why Krishna is telling that Naham Prakash Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samata. Lord says, I will not appear. If you don't have the desire to have me, I will not appear. And we don't have that so much. So what to do? We have to hear. Slowly, slowly increase our bhakti. And bhakti will give that appetite to see the Lord. That is the process. So the Shraddha or liking for the Supreme Lord, and in order to increase that liking, one has to associate with the pure devotees of Lord. and in that association. The third stage is to practice the prescribed rules and regulations of devotional service. This will dissipate all sorts of misgivings and remove all personal deficiencies that hamper progress in devotional service. Clear? So this is a different stages. So anartha nivritti stage. This is uh, sadhana stage. This is adarshraddha tata sadhusanga. This is bhajana kriya stage. This is anartha nivritti stage. When all the misgivings and personal deficiencies are removed, there is a stranded faith in transcendental matter. This is Nishtha. And the taste, Nishtha and Ruchi and then Asakti. The taste for it increases in a greater proportion. This stage leads to attraction. So Ruchi, Asakti. Then there is after this there is Bhava or the prayer stage for unalloyed love for God. All the above different stages are but different stages of development of transcendental love. Being so surcharged with transcendental love, there comes a strong feeling of separation which leads to 8 different kinds of ecstasies. Tears from the eyes of a devotee are an authentic reactions, and because Sri Narada Muni in his previous birth attained that stage very quickly after his departure from home, it was quite possible for him to perceive the actual presence of the Lord, which he tangibly experienced by his developed spiritual senses without material touch. So when he says, "Oh Vyasdev," at that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feeling of happiness, every part of my body remained separately enlivened. Being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy, I could see neither myself nor the Lord. So every senses, we have these gross senses now. There are subtle senses. Eyes, now spectacles are there. The spectacles don't see. I see through spectacles. Similarly, these eyes are also gross, but I have something called subtle senses, which are chakshu. Through them I see. I may have eyes, but if there is no chakshu, I cannot see. This is only a machine. This is only an instrument. Through them I see. Similarly, hearing. Otherwise, when we are sleeping, we are seeing, we see dreams. Yesterday was very terrible. Getting everything yesterday. Why I am seeing, where I am seeing? Because I have chakshu, the subtle senses I am able to see. Subtle senses I am hearing. Subtle I am talking. Everything is happening in the mind only. But this is happening in a with our subtle level. So there are subtle senses, these are gross senses. So here every sense is getting enlivened. Body, in the sense, the subtle body is completely getting enlivened. It is completely getting purified. So when we eat prasadam, it is not just the tongue, it is our subtle palate that is also going to get satisfied completely. Spiritual feeling of happiness and intense ecstasies have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it is very difficult to give expressions of such feelings. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in the words of Sri Narada Muni. Each and every part of the body or senses has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses becomes fully awakened to render service unto the Lord, because in the liberated stage the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in the transcendental ecstasy, it so happened that the senses become separately enlivened to the service of Lord, to the enlivened to serve the Lord. Thus, being so, Narada Muni lost sight of both himself and Lord simultaneously. I don't know what is this last line means. How does he lost? Is completely absorbed. That much I'm understanding. Maybe I'll find out what is this last line. So in the transcendental, like so happened that the senses become separately enlivened to serve the Lord. This we understand that all the senses are so much. The eyes are so eager to see the form of Lord. The ears are so eager to hear about Lord. The tongue is so eager to taste. So in this way, that is what is happening. I'll just see. are half of the chapter. A little read about. I want to. We will elaborate. I will take this one important point. If you know this one aspect, you know you understood this chapter. So meditation, I'll promise that tomorrow I will take more elaboration today's. Only 5 minutes are there, so I will not. I'll just very nicely explain to you what is this meditation, and then it will help us. If we remember that, then we have understood. Because this is what is Narada Muni did, and this is what he's explaining to Vyasdeva. I just meditated on Supreme, and I didn't get distracted. And now he's explaining how he's experiencing in that meditation, what all he's getting. So the transcendental form of Lord, as it is, satisfy the mind's desire and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing sight of that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed as is unusual when one loses. Sorry, as is usual when one loses that which is desirable. So the transcendental form of law, as it is satisfied with desire and at once erase all of it. So purport. The Lord is not formless, he is experienced by Nargman. So he saw the transcendental form of Lord. So here, I think this is a shloka very stilly. I could see neither myself nor Lord. That means he is just only seeing the Lord. I don't know what that line means. I will find out and I'll explain to you. Satisfies the mind's desire and at once erases all material incongruities, means all the vasanas, everything is erased. You don't have anything. What is holding us? The karma is our karma vasana. They're all finished. Then he lost the sight. I suddenly got up, being perturbed. As usual, when the Lord is not formless, is experienced, but his form is completely different from all forms of our material experience. For the whole duration of our life, we go on seeing different forms in the material world, but none of them is just apt to satisfy the mind. So many forms are there, they don't satisfy the mind. What is the proof? You may say, Array, this is the most beautiful form I have seen of a man or a woman. Then is it satisfying the heart completely? No. Why? Because you want to see some other form also. You cannot just stick to that one form. You cannot always see the photo of that person 24/7. People may keep their photo in the house with different poses and all. But after some time, the form is temporary, it will change. You will not like anymore after 10-20 years that same form. Another thing is, even now also it's not complete. But Lord's form, somebody is meditating on the form, that's all. He's caught. What happens is Krishna's form, the beauty always increase. That is the speciality of Krishna's form. You go on seeing him, he looks more and more beautiful. The deities in the temple, you go take darshan, they look more beautiful. And you go again and take darshan. You have that Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. You have that love, then they look more and more and more beautiful. That is Krishna's speciality. So none of them is just apt to satisfy the mind. So it will not satisfy the heart, nor can here mind means heart. Mind may be satisfied seeing some forms, but heart will not be satisfied. Nor can any one of them vanquish all the perturbance of the mind. These are the special features of the transcendental form of the Lord, and Muni has once seen that form is not satisfied with anything else. No form in the material world can any longer satisfy the seer. So we know the story of Dhanurdas, how he was having this, he was going with this girl and Ramanujacharya says, wait a minute, I'll show you. And he shows the form of Ranganath. And Ranganath gives him the original transcendental vision and immediately could see that form of Lord. And then he said, yes, I am done. No more forms. So same thing, we hear the story of a Muslim who goes to, I was telling the story of a Muslim who goes to Madan Mohan. One time the king sends him, okay, give to the pujari some letter. So he goes and goes to the temple pujari and he gives. And that time He just happened, okay, what is there inside? Let me see. Just he peeps inside and sees Madan Mohan once. And once he sees finish, he gets so attracted to the form of Madan Mohan Karoli. Then he could not give out up only. So every time some pretext used to go and see the form of Madan Mohan, and then the pujaris understood that this fellow is unnecessarily coming and seeing. So they warned him, we should never come inside. And he stopped doing his namaz and everything. He is not getting taste in anything. And all his Muslim people, they said ostracized him. They said this fellow is a fallen Muslim. And here they are also not allowing him. And he said, what can I see? I don't want to see any other form because I saw Madan Mohan. So that is how dangerous it is. But somehow we are not able to get that still. And Rupa Goswami says, if you are attached to material enjoyment, don't go to the bank of Keshi God because there is Govinji. And once you see Govinji, then you lose all the taste for it. So that's what Prabhupada is telling. That one who has seen the form of Lord is not satisfied with anything else. No form in material world can any longer satisfy the seer. As spiritual being having eternal relationship with the transcendental form of Lord, we are all life after life searching after that form of Lord, and we are not satisfied by any other form of material aspiration, appeasement. So Nardamani got a glimpse of this, but having not seen it again, he became perturbed and stood up all of a sudden to search it out. What we desire life after life was obtained by Nardamani, and losing sight of him again was certainly a great shock for him. And our search stops when you reach Lord. Till that, we have to continue searching in this middle road. So, thank you very much. We'll continue discussion. Tomorrow, I will elaborate on meditation, some important points I tell. Of course, I have covered many of them, but still, I will make it more systematically and try to explain. Thank you all very much. Yeah, how can an Islam person get such a taste? That is Madan Mohan's mercy. He showed him the form. He got attracted. Once we get that darshan of Madan Mohan or Govindji or Gopinath, that's all. We are also gone case. According to outside circle, they said this person is gone. Somehow Lord is not giving us that darshan. We are not so eager. Somehow Lord is sometimes he performs his leela. He makes fun. He says, let me show this Muslim fellow, he came for the first time, let me show my palm. He showed and he got stuck up. Sometimes Lord does such leelas to show his power. See how powerful I am. But he does not do all the time. He waits for our sincerity and our eagerness. Okay. Thank you all very much. Sheila.